Welcome back to another episode of Sports for Dummies. My name is Joshua Merchant, joined by co-host dummy John Merchant. How you doing?
Good, Joshy. How are you?
I'm good. We're on to a great topic in the NBA, which we have touched on in previous episodes a tad. It is all about load management. Now, Johnny, can you explain a bit about the rules, what the NBA are trying to do? Because if it were me and I was a fan and I was paying $2 to $3K to show up to an NBA game, and you're hoping that you're going to see LeBron, KD, whether it be Lillard, prime example, you go see the Clippers and you have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard that you actually love, you'd love to see them be playing. And guess what the NBA do, what the teams do? Oh, he's just going to have a rest because he's a bit too old. He's only earning, probably about 5 to 10 mil a year just to casually turn up and play your 82 games, and it's too many games in a season. Well, maybe they should think about what they're doing with their season and not do these in-season NBA tournaments and all this BS that they're kind of on. And another fun fact for anyone who is watching, $1.1 million is the average NBA salary at the moment. I don't know about you, but if you had to show up to 82 games, how long is the NBA season played for?
82 games.
Yes, but across the month.
Well, it starts in where we're in now, so we'll say it started in October and it finishes in June, July.
Okay, so it's roughly a 9-month sort of thing, and obviously... So look, I'm not denoting what the NBA players do, but if you were a fan, and I think what they're trying to do is... There are a few rules that they've implemented by the sound of things, and Johnny, you're going to touch on, I think, the fact that originally the NBA came out and said that it was bad for the health, and the teams were saying it was, we want to manage the health of the players and make sure the longevity is there. And we talked about, Victor Wemby and, managing his time on the court. And it's like, well, hold on, break him in, get out there, start playing games. It's the same with Fat Harden. Get him out there, get him throwing some balls. He can't throw shit anyway, but it doesn't matter. What are your thoughts on this, Johnny?
Okay, that question went into a soliloquy, if I'd say, from Josh, but I don't disagree with anything he just said. Load management has now not just become as a way to, maximise your players. It's now become part of the spoiled brat era that we're in with the NBA. It's a very interesting thing where I think it started, as a logical thing to rest, older players and whatnot. Now it's every star player. Now you touch on, let's start from the key component. The NBA has lost viewers since Michael Jordan, and then it rose up again during the LeBron James Warriors era, and it's continued to drop. That's why they've introduced this in-game tournament so that they can, it's still for regular season points, but however, they've put, because there's a tournament attached to it, it gives the players more, it gives, the players a need to win for it because there's a, incentive of it. And then also they've got fans, rooting for it because there's a little bit something at the end. It's just all wrong. It's all wrong.
It's kind of counterproductive too.
It's counterproductive because, again, you're just taking away from the regular season. Now, what's happened here is that it started with, load management is not just in the NBA, it's in all sports. And it came down to more for the championship teams as they went on in their championship runs. You rested a few players because they were older and you managed them, which is completely fine. But now it's come to a point where every star player does this and it's actually counterproductive. Now, coming back to your fan base thing, you would have people spending their hard-earned money I'm going to use the big sides with, the big tickets, LA, Warriors, those sort of things. You travel half across the country and to find out, LeBron James isn't playing, or if you were going to Brooklyn, it would be KD not playing. That's why fans are losing, and that is why fans are losing, I guess, passion for the regular season, because one, the NBA players aren't taking it seriously. Jimmy Butler, I know you say you love him, and it doesn't help that he's getting results.
I love him.
Well, you did in previous ones.
No. Never said I love him. I love the Heat. I love what they stand for.
But they stand for not playing regular season and playing playoffs. Yeah, and he's the poster boy who struggles, but he does make it. He has made the finals. He doesn't help though, but he has not won. And there is not a shred of evidence that has actually supported.
Does he load manage though?
They just don't take it seriously.
Yes, that's a big difference. He plays games though. He shows up. This is the topic of conversation.
He takes games off like everyone else.
As
so
everyone
Kawhi
else does.
Leonard was the poster boy of this.
Yes, I did, and I agree with this. This is my Clippers, and I trust me when I say it. We felt it. There were games where we shouldn't have, but there are.
But Kawhi's load managing started before the Clippers. He just actually hasn't played at the moment, and now we're getting. So you walk up to a game. No one's playing. They now implemented a rule you can't rest two players. The fact that you have to make a rule.
What is the rule?
The rule that you can't rest more than one player or
one star player.
One star player.
But what quantifies a star player?
Correct.
And not only that, there is another rule. There's a loophole in that rule where they said that if you played a certain amount of regular games or minutes, or you're over a certain age, you can rest that player. Stephen Curry, LeBron James.
And then we'll touch on that.
Why are you playing then? This is my point. Why are you allowed to play and earn a salary like that if you can't play all the games in the season? I don't understand it.
Well, let's touch on that. And you made a comment about the average dollars by an NBA player, which is 1.1 million. The guys who are making 1.1 million are playing. They're lucky to be on the court. It's the superstars that are not walking up. And there's two things. Their load management for a rest or whatever. Or I generally think when they come against the star player, they're kind of ducking him. And does it construe to championship basketball? I don't know. They've now made the rule now, I'm not sure if you know, for all your first team All NBA, MVPs, scoring champion, to win any award, you have to play a maximum of 65. That sounds good because most players are playing 57. However, what does that mean? That means every player is going to take off a quarter of the year. That does not make sense whatsoever when people are making more money than God that they can take a quarter of the year off. And they're elite athletes. They have all the best medical staff, training, health, dietitians.
LeBron spends $2 million.
Do you know what's hilarious about all this? Is Michael Jordan won 6 championships, 4 he played every game of the year, and the other 2 he missed 3. Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s played a full year, did not miss a second. Now, we were saying, the athletes are better than they were back then. Are they? Because those guys didn't stop. They were working another job and still playing all the time. The mentality of the basketball, the Brat era, is absolutely astounding, which brings me to another point. This does not win basketball games when it comes to playoffs or finals. I'm going to use Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant as an example of this. Anyone who played with them, even LeBron James, people have said this even with LeBron James, practice was 10 times harder than games. They loved playing games above training with those guys. Why? Michael Jordan has a good quote. He trained harder in games because if you can't handle me in training, how can you handle playoff basketball?
Yeah.
If I haven't practiced so much, how can I handle... And that applies to the body. So that's from a skill perspective. How can you handle your body? So a player like Kawhi, who takes games off, perfect example last year, was killing it. His body's not used to stress. Yeah. And the moment everyone knows here, when your body's under stress and it's not used to it and you push yourself, you can get injured. It's from the constant putting in the hours. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work. And they've actually came out now. They've come out with a study, not much to it, saying there is no correlation between load managing and players staying healthy on the court.
Well, you look at Michael Jordan. Out of the 6, he played 4. He played out of the 6 championships, 4 seasons, played all games, and then won the championship.
Correct.
And then the other 2, he had 3, and he battled.
He was battle-hardened.
Yep.
Because, as he said, it's not I don't get nervous about my skills because I practice all the time. Do I feel a little bit afraid? No. But nervousness and fear comes from a lack of practice.
But my concern, so to take the players out, right? These guys are earning squillions.
Yes.
And these supporters are going in there, the fans are going in there, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this and go, you know what, it is probably sounds bad, one of the softest sports. in the regard that they like you said, 65 games qualifies them to get an MVP. Is that what you said? So 65 games, that's all you have to play.
And that's
a quarter of it. You take off 17 games.
And that's good because most players are playing 57. But all it means is that means no one's going to play 82.
You know what's weird, right? So everyone out there probably can relate to this. Everyone, if you're in a job, you get your annual leave. You get leave, you get your sick leave and all that sort of stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're on the sort of scope where you're earning north of $1 million, I don't know about you, but you're probably wanting to ramp that up. And if you're one of the best players of all time, why would you want to be taking down a notch and going from, okay, I'm going to play it maybe 65 games or 70 games just to get through the season. Jimmy Butler, prime example, just get to the playoffs and then get in and play. But for a fan perspective, who actually genuinely turns up, gets their hard-earned dollars, right? They're not earning, that pays the sport, they're not earning 1.1 million. This is my point I'm trying to make. They show up, they're paying, whatever it may be. I remember John telling me about the tickets at LA and how much you're going to be spending there. And you don't even get to see the stardom, the players that you go to see, the talent and the absolute, don't get me wrong, the NBA, they have some seriously amazing talent in there. And to go and watch I've watched some NBL. I've never watched an NBA game live, but even watching the NBL, which is the Australian League, it is actually epic. But just to be able to go and see your favorite players there, who you love and cherish and watch on the screen, follow their absolute journey like it's a cult, it's ridiculous to see that these players actually now have to implement a fine and had all this previous study when they have the best sports, medicine, every access at the freaking facilities that they ever need. I just don't get. And then not only that, the in-season tournament wins money. But then if you get fined, it's actually quietly sounds like it's very similar on the fine. So it's like, if you were to win an in-season tournament and you're winning games and you're winning money, you could manage your players a bit better and still cop a fine. It wouldn't really matter. It sounds like it will level out anyway. So it's ridiculous because the best teams are going to... I still think it's going to happen. I don't like it. It's not good for the sport. If maybe someone should ask Michael Jordan what he thinks on this one, because I guarantee you'd say, the whole bunch of the NBA are a bunch of softies. Because you look back to when he was playing and how that was played and the physicality that was back then compared to now, it's just two different things. Well, I agree with you on this.
Well, it comes back to, and we're using Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant because hell, you got two of the GOATs in there, so let's use the champions. They both had a similar thing. Now Kobe Bryant even trained harder, and what he got from Michael, and Michael said it on The Last Dance, is I had to give everything not just to win, but because people came and watched me.
Yeah.
And I had to perform every day. Kobe Bryant had the same thing. I was a little boy watching Michael Jordan. Now the little boy was watching me.
Yeah.
It's not just about obviously winning a championship, it's everything, but it's shown that isn't good for winning a championship. You're also performing.
Yeah.
And this is where they say all the athletes are so much better. Well, are they? When Will Chamberlain have played every minute of the game. Bill Russell did not miss. That's why he won all the time. What, do you think Magic and Bird took games off?
No.
These are the biggest winners ever.
But not only that, you're playing at the top of the top. If you want to go and play, so don't get me wrong, there are people out there that won't, you're not going to, there are days where you don't want to work. You don't want to put in the heart. And don't get me wrong, I see that, but I see that.
Let's bring that back. You said
but I'm going to the NBA. You're at the top tier.
Let's bring back to people who are making a lot of money in a normal sport. They can't do that, make me and you do a job.
No.
You can't take a quarter of the year off. You take a quarter of the year off, you make half as much.
100%.
You can't work less.
This is what I'm trying to say.
And if you're making north of $1 million in not a sport environment, you do that because you're working religiously. Now, all these players who got to those max contracts did not get there from working less. They started getting there when they're happy with the money. And there's a culture now that it doesn't matter about the regular season and blah, blah, blah. Well, no, it does. And it's still proven. I know Miami had an out there year. The best teams win.
Well, you said that viewership has gone down over the last few seasons.
It's been going down since Michael Jordan left.
Now, I'm just going to... I did look up research the fact that there was... Now, last year was a really weird final series. It was the Nuggets and...
Sure.
Nuggets and the Heat, wasn't it?
Sure.
Now, two teams who arguably, yes...
Heat are big.
Heat are big, but the Nuggets necessarily aren't. It was actually
Sure.
the fifth least watched final series
Yeah.
since the 1980s. So you look at that and you go, wow, that's, for 40-odd years, 42, and it's in the least 5 that are recorded to date. And it's like, yes, but like you said...
But to that point, the 80s was 43 years ago.
The bubble has affected the NBA too.
Hang on. The fifth least in 43 years when the whole sport has boomed.
Yep.
Why is viewership going down when every industry has boomed? Why? Because the product is lessened.
Well, the Nuggets are boring.
That's not just from who's playing, because Michael Jordan played Utah. It's got nothing to do with that. It's because the product has lessened because people aren't watching as much.
I just wouldn't watch the
One because take the finals out because people aren't load managing that. And this is a different topic. The sport's changed because it's all 3 points. It's an incredibly soft sport, and now the players are soft. It's a massive thing.
Which is really ironic because you just said the sport's become a 3-point sport. But then the players are soft, so why can't they play more?
Exactly.
This makes no sense.
Exactly.
Counterproductive.
We keep getting told that they're superior athletes. Well, go play every game and see what happens. I don't think they can.
Well, you look at LeBron, though. The guy takes the ball to the paint like it's no tomorrow.
Okay, so LeBron James, and this is where people will use, he didn't play all 82 games. Okay, played 75 games and has been managing himself for 10 years. He's been playing for 21.
Yeah.
He's not a normal athlete. Load management for sports. Your life in sports for an average person is 6 to 10. I'm not saying manage
you can't
yourself.
compete to LeBron.
I'm not saying
we don't.
Manage
LeBron
yourself,
is even an example.
But when
here.
you got stars, Kevin Booker, this or that, and everyone, Joel Embiid, these guys taking a quarter of the year off, and they've been playing for 2 seconds.
Agree.
LeBron, and people hate, he didn't play 82. Yeah, but okay, he's also been double digits. He's been playing...
Greatest scorer of all time,
He's been playing double digits
yeah.
in his career longer than he hasn't. He's been playing 21 years, which means he's been year 10 longer.
So LeBron is the exemption, not the example. He is one of a kind. He's arguably the greatest of all time, and he should not even be used on the load management because he's not even close to being a person who's on that list. And he should be. If anyone was going to take the time at that age,
either if
LeBron did or not.
70 plus games, they're playing 57. Now you're going to make an example for 65. And I will come into we will talk about what is wrong with the voting with the MVP and basketball because it's actually a disgrace. But
we're going to do that in the next week. Not next week, the week after, we're going to review the MVP system because it sounds shit.
But coming back to what we're talking about, the NBA is literally with sports science said it has no correlation, which is interesting because they've created a culture of this. Yeah. So what was the science they were going on? That is apparently not valid anymore. They didn't say it was wrong. They was just saying there's no correlation. So how is there a correlation before?
Well, there wasn't, because if Michael Jordan was proof in the pudding that this guy was playing, he won 4 championships.
Winners win. David Goggins wins. People win.
Yes. Now, I think it all comes back to, though, actually the fans, the supporters, and the culture. I think... But it doesn't come back to it's just more or less the fans are just disappointed and let down.
We can go back now to how much money people are being paid, and Michael Jordan said that. Michael Jordan didn't make $30 million until his last 3 years. That they got players now are getting paid off potential and future.
This is what I mean. It's ridiculous.
Jordan pulls on $100 million.
And the sponsorships they get too, and it's like how
okay, and then we'll go at that. But these are different topics. That's more about why the state of is. We're talking specifically about load management. I think we can end it there.
I reckon we can too. Thanks, guys. What are your thoughts? Drop them in the comments. Remember, like, subscribe, hit the ring bell thing. I don't know if I described that right. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Hope you're having a great day.
See you guys.